Hello, everyone. I see people are still adding on here, so I will give it like 2 minutes and then I will get started. Okay, I will go ahead and get this started. It is 7:02. Um, I want to welcome everyone, all the parents here, to the upcoming school year. This is not the way I had hoped to work with all of you as we started the school year, but this is where we are, and we're going to do our best to make this happen. Let me introduce myself. If there's some of you who are new this year, and I have not met everyone, but my name is Mike Oldring. I am the principal of Coffman High School. This is my 28th year as the principal at Coffman, or in Coffman High School. It's my 12th year as the head principal at Coffman High School. I have a junior at Ohio State. I have a senior here at Coffman. I also have a freshman here at Coffman, and I have an 8th grader coming up next year. So all of my administrative team, all 3 assistant principals and athletic director, all have children here at Coffman High School. So at least before we get this started, at least you know the administration here has a vested interest in the success of this school year. And we truly want to do our best to make this a positive learning year. I will say this, there is a chat box here, and I encourage you to use that. I'm going to go through some things first, and then I'm going to attempt to go through questions. Probably will not have every answer to the questions, but I will do my best. And if I need to get back on some questions, I will certainly do that as well. I will say this as well. We are in this together. We want to problem solve all of these issues together. So it's, the best way for us to solve any problems we run into as we go is to work together on this. We are on the same team. So I know I've seen some things in other scenarios in the district with chats that just get ugly, and that's not healthy for anyone. So I encourage you to certainly ask your questions, but I also encourage you to do it in a healthy way that we all want to work together and create continue to create the environment here that we've had at Coffman High School for so many years, that is positive, that is welcoming and encouraging, and we want to keep it that way. It's obviously not the way we planned on coming back to school. Wasn't the way we planned to end school. As I said at the beginning, I have a freshman. I just met with all the freshman parents, but maybe some of you are still freshman parents, but I know the anxiety there. And then I have a senior, and many of you on this call are seniors. And we're all wondering, we thought, boy, last year, those seniors, it was so tough on them, and they missed so many things. And now as senior parents, we're looking into this thinking, oh my gosh, what are we going to be able to do? So I feel the same anxiety you do. I feel I have the same questions you do, I think, when it comes to our kids. So let me start with the schedule. And I hope you've all seen it. At some point, I'll get some slides out if you need those, just in case you would need them. But I'll start with day one, August 24th, how we're starting school in the full 100% remote, no one comes to school model. So Monday the 24th, periods 1 through 4, 7:55 a.m., kids hop on the computer, boom, you're live with the teacher working through class. All kids, periods 1 through 4, all of their students. So I'm a teacher. I have 130 kids on my roster for the day. All my first period kids, I have 27 of them. They're all online. We're all online together. I'm teaching them. We're doing our thing. Second period, third period, fourth period. 5th through 7th now is what we call asynchronous learning. I'm going to get into this because you hear that you've probably heard these terms. Synchronous means we're on a schedule. It's just like going to class. Asynchronous means you can do this work on your own time. You develop a time frame that works for you. So obviously day one, periods 5 through 7, being asynchronous will be a little bit off because the teachers haven't met them yet. I would expect them to have something in Schoology they could look at, though, to prepare for Tuesday, because Tuesday are periods, everybody periods 1 through 4 will be asynchronous on their own time. Whatever they had done on Monday, hopefully set the plan for what they're doing on Tuesday. And then teachers will be live with the kids 5 through 7. So that's how day one, day two works. So you're on those 1 through 4 A days, you're up just like you're coming to school, got the computer going at 7:55, ready to roll. And then the B days, you get a little bit of a break. You could sleep in a little bit potentially. So you have that. You could, as we get going through this, you may need to meet with a teacher in first period, and they may be available to meet and talk to you and work through a problem or whatever it might be. Wednesdays are the tricky days for parents, could be the tricky days for kids, because it's asynchronous learning. It's synchronous, asynchronous all day. What does that mean? It means a teacher can decide what they're doing on Wednesday. It could be small group instruction. It could be differentiation. It could be any number of things where teachers are working with kids, or some kids may not need them. They may be fine and doing what they need to do. They don't have any questions. They don't need reteaching. They don't need small group instruction. They're good. So it's going to be a development between the teacher and each of those classes and each student in that class. So we are working through the expectations on those days as well in our own building with the teachers. But I will say this, those first 2 weeks. Now, that's the plan, is the first 2 weeks are fully remote. All kids are the same. They're all on the same schedule, no matter if you're in the remote learning academy or not. You're all on the same schedule for those 2 weeks. So if things continue to go well in the community, the governor's fine, the health department's good, then we start the hybrid when we come back, after Labor Day. Potentially, we could be in remote longer. We don't know, right? So we have to be prepared for that. but the plan is to go to hybrid. So let me go to what happens when we shift to hybrid. When we shift to the hybrid, that's when we differentiate alphabet. So A through K, L through Z. A through K is A day, L through Z is B day. So here, let's start a Monday and on hybrid. Monday, all kids A through K come to the building and run their full period. So teachers are teaching. Teachers are teaching those kids, and they've got them all day. They run a full schedule. Then on B day, L through Z comes in, run a full schedule on Tuesday. Wednesday is the remote learning academy day. Kids not in the remote learning academy don't go to school. They're off that day, and this day is dedicated for teachers to work with remote learn academy students on Wednesday. So then Thursday and Friday, the kids come back at half capacity. So that's the structure of it, right? That's the nuts and bolts of how this works. There will be differentiation. There will be individualism. So to say as a remote learning academy student, I only get 1 day a week, or to say as a hybrid student, I did have, at one point I was coming Monday, Thursday, and every other Wednesday. And now I'm not coming on Wednesdays. But to say you don't get instruction or don't get learning on Wednesday or Tuesday or Friday is a misnomer, because our goal and our plan for teachers is you're planning learning 5 days a week for all of your kids, regardless of where they are. So does that mean my remote kid can never talk to my teacher till Wednesday? No, that doesn't mean that. It's going to develop as it goes. Teachers are going to work with kids individually to see what they need and figure out ways to help them, whether it's on their day or off their day, or how that works. We are working to develop content labs, virtual content labs. So let's say I'm not in on Monday because I'm L through Z. Well, and I'm in Algebra 2. There's a math lab, 4th period every day. So I could just log into, that's the idea of it. We're developing, but I could just log into math lab and ask my questions. Or I'm working on a paper and I have a question about my paper. We potentially have a writing lab. I could log in on that time. So we're working really hard to make this work and develop a schedule that works for kids, and their learning doesn't stop when they leave the building or are not in the building. So it's to tell you minutely how this is going to work for everybody would be impossible. But I will say that, I've been here for 28 years. The teaching staff here is amazing, and I know where their heart is, and I know why they're here and doing what they're doing. It's because they love kids and they love learning, and they love helping kids learn and developing and helping them accomplish their goals. That's where they are. That's what they've always wanted to do. And that doesn't stop because we're in a pandemic. Is it going to be perfect? I would be lying if I said it was. No. But we're going to run into a problem and we're going to solve the problem together. Parent, teacher, counselor, everybody's going to solve together. We're going to do our best to make it work. So I know I do, and maybe it's hard to, always have faith as a parent. I'm the one who gets to work with the teachers and have hired them and on a daily basis. So I have more comfort in that, but, and we're just going to have to work with each other and believe in each other and support each other as we go through this process. I really think we can do great things. Would we all rather be in school and going to class every day? Yes, 100%. Are we better at that? Yes, 100%. That's what we train to do. That's what this staff is amazing at. But are we good at adapting and doing? Yes, we're very good at that. And when you look at the big picture for our kids, this is when it's most important that their teachers, parents, all of us together are looking at this saying, we'll make it, it's going to work. It's going to work. Are you going to run into a problem? Are you going to run into a situation where you struggle? Yep. Yes, you are. Maybe you wouldn't have had that problem had we been in class every single day, but now we have the problem. So let's work together and find a solution. Let's work with your teacher. And that leads me to a point too. And you've probably heard me say this before, but the best resource for you as a parent, the best resource for your child. And it's probably senior parents, junior parents, it's a little easier on your end, but the teacher. And, a lot of our kids at junior, senior level are very comfortable, and younger ones are too, but as they develop and mature, it's easier for them to work individually with their teacher, seek out help and whatever. But if you're having an issue, I just want to make sure I reiterate this as I do every year. Teacher is number one. They're the number one problem solver for your child in their class. And then we work from there. But that is the best place to get it done. That's where all the work is done, and that's where the environment is. So I would certainly encourage that, reiterate that, make sure you have that. A couple things I want to go through, and then I'll get to the questions here. Their schedule should be coming out on the 18th. Their email in your child's email for school email. Please make sure students are checking their email. That's my greatest communication tool. So that would be fantastic. I will say this as well, as I'm reiterating to my senior. Get your Chromebook out, get it fired up, make sure everything's working. We want to make sure it's in working order and ready to go on August 24th. Waking up at 7:45 August 24th in the morning and turning on your computer for 7:55 class and it doesn't work, obviously there's a problem. We want them ready to go. So I encourage you to do that. If there is a problem, we're working on some processes to try and help. I believe I'll be getting that information out soon on how that could be solved, or for our students if they're having a problem. I do plan on meeting with students by class. I'll get that schedule out to them, but sometime next week I'll have that. And I will give them all the information as well on the Chromebook, but I'll email that out. I went through that already. I am working on, with our staff, I think it's going to be really cool, but an open house. It was originally scheduled for the 26th. Not sure it's going to be the 26th. We're starting later anyway, but we're going to have a really cool thing. I think our teachers are going to work on interactive piece where you can meet all the teachers, and they would essentially have the message from open house and so forth, but you'll be able to interact with the building on a map. It's Amy Klein, our tech coach, has been working on that, and it's really, really cool. So that's coming. We will have an open house. We're try to allow you to meet the teachers and give you time to see who your child has. And for some of you, maybe it'd be an open, because once it's open, you can look at it any time. So it'd be an opportunity maybe you wouldn't have had if it would have been on a certain date. Depending on your schedules. I think my mind is running around in circles a little bit, but I think I hit the labs, talked about the labs a little bit, the virtual labs I did talk about that, I'm pretty sure. That was on my list. And I talked to some teachers today, and it kind of, as we were working through some things and talking, it reminded us, which can be exciting, but it reminded us, like, in some ways we feel like first-year teachers, like a first-year principal. Like, there's just, everything is different. Everything is new. The way we do it, how we have to approach it is new. It's exciting. I think some things are really cool that have developed from this. We've had certain virtual meetings that were very, in person were not attended very well, and now virtually seem to be attended very well. So potentially, that's something that develops from this and could be a real positive. But again, us working together is going to be the key to this. But I am done with what I kind of had that I wanted to share today. So I am going to attempt now to look through these questions. Grading, something about A grade for whoever just passes. No. That is on there. I think, yeah, we are not going to be just, if you pass, you get a 4.0. We're definitely going to be grading and assessing students in as we typically have done in the past. So that is definitely going to be a part of that. Will the content, somebody asked about in the freshman meeting, I apologize that I didn't answer that, but a lot of it, some of the stuff was the same. Sure. Of course. These meetings have been good. I had some meetings in the spring with some parents, and especially senior parents, and it works pretty well. You're welcome. How will electives work online? Art classes and study hall. Well, study hall could end up being an opportunity to get resources as we are working with creating labs, academic labs. That could be an opportunity to do that. So, same as if you were in school as far as a study hall. How will art classes work? Boy, we have a lot of electives, but I will say this, with all of our non-core courses, and especially some arts and fine arts and performing arts, we have creative staff. So I can't tell you exactly how it's going to work. I can tell you the structure, but what they're actually going to do to make that work is I would be the wrong person to tell you, but I can tell you your child's art teacher is going to have a plan in place that's going to provide learning experiences and hopefully an enjoyable class. So will Dublin decide to switch to remote classes only on a school-by-school basis, or will the entire district? That's a great question. And I can't answer that necessarily, except for maybe in a common sense way. If Bailey Elementary had some sort of breakout and some teachers and had to be home, and we're in a hybrid type model, I could see where an elementary school potentially, would say we're going to close for a week or whatever that might be. So I could see an individual basis. I also think, and I'm, trying to wrap my head around contact tracing and all of those things. So do you have older siblings, or if we have a problem in Coffman, how many have been exposed, and then they have siblings at Sells or Carr or Grizel. And so, I think there's a potential to, but I haven't been told that, but I could see that happening. Of course, you're welcome. Well, if a child has academic skills center, it'd be just like any other class. They will have access to that teacher, individualized work, and be able to and also have access to labs on those times too. So absolutely. Oh, sorry, Andrea. Thank you. That's funny. Who can we talk to so we can coordinate our kids' schedule with the hybrid schedule going on at Tolles? Tolles is doing a full day in-person schedule once a week. Lisa, I believe that would be your guidance counselor. That would be the number one, and I would send an email to your guidance counselor, who would be Megan Burton, I believe, for you. So I would send an email to her this evening and say, I just want to get on the same page with that. Great question. It would be helpful for parents to know how many Coffman students are in Remote Learning Academy and how many would be showing up. Currently, yesterday, I was told 422. Yesterday, I think that might have been, or the day before, we're between 425 and 450. That's the best number I have right now. And I think some people have been there and then coming back and so forth. So if that helps you, fantastic. It does help you know, hey, when we do go hybrid, there's even less kids. And that is something we're definitely working on with each classroom, each roster, to make sure when we do go hybrid, when and if, then we still have the right number of kids to social distance in a room. Welcome. Will every AP IB class be offered online? If not, what classes will not be offered? So when we were in the old system and they thought, hey, we're going to take high school teachers and pull them out and create this academy of online. When that was the case, one thing that was discovered is we don't have the staffing to teach all these AP and IB courses. And potentially IB may not have let us do it anyway. So this way, so for example, I'm an AP or an IB teacher. Let's say I have 2 periods of AP Calc. So I have 60 or 55 kids in AP Calculus, or say 50 kids, and I have 130 total. Those 50 kids in AP Calc, maybe 15 or 20 of those are in the Remote Learning Academy. I still have them. They're mine. I'm still teaching them as if they were in my classroom. They're my kids. So yes, they will be offered, and teachers are going to be teaching them. They keep the same teacher that they had. So that was a big positive of the way this structure is set up. We could teach all of our courses again, is it perfect? No, it is not perfect. But it gives us that ability. How will the Emerald Campus courses be conducted? Well, it depends, because all Columbus State courses are online now. So anybody with College Credit Plus, they have an online course. If you're in an academy, it's going to work on the same schedule. If we go to hybrid, A day, B day, we'll have the same transportation going over to Emerald Campus. If your child doesn't drive or can't, or doesn't want to walk, whatever it might be, we're very, very fortunate to be right next door to Emerald Campus, because we do get a lot of kids that walk over, and that's pretty convenient. So I hope that answers that. Thank you, Sarah. Awesome. We are in it together. Orientation period to hybrid look the same as 50%? No, it doesn't. That's a great question. The orientation, they came out and said we have 8 days of orientation. I heard Dr. Hoadley the other day say that could be different, right? Depending on where we are. At the high school level, could be 4 days of orientation, could be 8, could be 12. So there's still a little fluctuation there. But so it's a slower roll in, it's a slower phase in of kids. So essentially we're cutting it in half. So if we have 4 orientation days, then we would have a quarter of the kids for 4 days. And then we get everybody through one time, and then we could go to the full 50. Please don't go anywhere and say, Mr. Allring said we're only having 4 orientation days, because that's not true. I don't know that. It could be 4, it could be 8. If things go not well, we could continue those because that's safer. So again, but the orientation days are a phase in to the hybrid. So kids will know when they're to come. I'll send all that out too when we get to that place. But it's a great question. Great question. Oh, thanks for that. Math lab be available during every period. We are working on that. We are working on a way to do that. We're also working on when your child's asynchronous, not in the classroom, that there would be a lab available for them. That's the goal. And will there be one every period? I'm not going to guarantee that. But hopefully, if I'm in school, if on my, let's say at this point, when we go fully remote, and I'm not online periods 1 through 4, somewhere 5 through 7, there's a lab for me. But then if we get into hybrid and I go all day on Monday and I'm not there on Tuesday, they should be able to pick, because you're asynchronous on Tuesday, they should be able to pick any of the open math labs on the day they're not there. So hopefully we get that done. I have a lot of confidence we're going to get it done. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of assigning and just schedule building. So we're working on that, but I have confidence there'll be a math lab available. Yes, that's correct, Stephanie Lewis. We'll have a quarter of the kids. Struggles make us stronger. You get that right. That's very cool. All right. There we go. Okay. This pops around on me sometimes. I apologize. Yes, we will. We are working, and our Board of Education, Gary, is working very closely with the director of the Franklin County Board of Health to allow us to do this. And I know what the recommendation was a few weeks ago, and our board president, superintendent have been working with the director of the Board of Health, Franklin County, and they have gone through this plan. The Franklin County Board of Health is working with us to do this. So yes, and we're going to put all the safety precautions in that we can. Recommending online only learning till decrease. Yes. Math lab was available during every period. So student, yeah, it was available every period. It was not available every period, but a lot of the periods, and we anticipate that. But we want to make sure it's if it's not available every period, there's a way that it's accessible to every child, and that's what we're working on. Hey, good, D. Yeah, I think the virtual open house might be a really cool thing. I'm excited about that. Busing schedule for tolls. That is a situation where the bus leaves from here and goes to tolls. So our kids ride the school bus to Coffman High School. They get off, they hop on the tolls bus and go to tolls. That's how that works. And then, so again, you could email your counselor on that as well, just to get confirmation. Update on ongoing conversations about SLC students attending school more often. D, I don't have a update. I just know that we have permission to work individually with students. So I don't have any great knowledge, like anything in stone, but we do have permission to work individually with students and parents to provide some extra opportunities. What time does zero period start? I don't know if we have zero period would be at Emerald campus only if they're having that this year. We had one last year. I'm not certain we do, but that should be provided somewhere. So Chris, that should be provided by Emerald campus. We don't have a zero period here. I will look into that though. Will there be a fall marching season? Our band staff is amazing. They've been working with kids. I see them out here working on drill every day. Still in a situation they can't drill and play with. They're being very, very precautious. There will not be any marching band competitions. All the competitions have shut down. So that won't be there. Potentially they're preparing in hopes to play on Friday nights if that happens. And they're looking at the whole program to see how that could work with this situation. So they have a lot of things in mind. Mr. Bradstreet will be communicating all of that stuff with you when he's ready. So, which I think he's just getting everything put together and developed and seeing how everything's going. And I think he, like many other people, might be waiting on what the governor is going to say on Tuesday about fall sports. So if we get to the point where will the teachers working RLA on Wednesdays? Okay, great questions. That's a great question, and I had it prior. This is the structure we have right now, right? So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday for the hybrid or kids attending full-time, Wednesday for remote. Unless we change the structure, that's what we're under right now. So as I interpret it, our teachers would still work with those kids that they have in Remote Learning Academy on Wednesdays, and students wouldn't come to school physically on Wednesdays. That's how I look at it. That's how the whole structure would have to change. I'm not saying it won't, but that's a lot. And potentially, if we didn't change the structure, we could come back to school, and to support the Remote Learning Academy, kids would not be coming to school on Wednesdays. So that's a possibility. Please don't say Mr. Oring said that's what's happening. I'm just saying under the current structure, that's what would happen. The structure would have to change. So good question, Wendy. If some student applied for remote learning and they will start remote learning for the first 2 weeks, but what happened to them after 2 weeks? Are they going to be in hybrid mode? No. If you are in the Remote Learning Academy, when we go to hybrid, then you go to the remote schedule when everyone else is in the hybrid. So you would have online with your teachers synchronously, periods 1 through 7 on Wednesdays. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday would be asynchronously. And there's been a rub on that, right? From people in the Remote Learning Academy. I'm going to work with those folks at 8 o'clock here in a little bit. But, structurally, it appears I only get 1 day a week. But that's not the intent of our teachers. Or the intent of our teachers is to plan for all students 5 days a week, no matter when they see you, when they don't see you, and provide times potentially to see you outside of that. Again, this is the structure, but things always move. Teachers are going to find ways to help kids with whatever child needs. So no, you do not automatically go to a hybrid model. When we go to hybrid, only those kids that did not sign up for Remote Learning Academy will go to the hybrid or the full model if we get there. So packing a lot of information on just Wednesday for remote kids seems like a lot more. Again, the idea is not to pack it all in on Wednesday. The idea is to provide it all week. Wednesday could be opportunities for small group instruction, individual instruction, differentiation, and so forth. So that's the intent. That's the idea. That's what we envision. Again, we're working through this as we go. So I can see our staff, our students, our parents problem solving as we get through that. Lisa, will kids still do online classes when they aren't in orientation? We'll always be doing online. Whatever classes we're doing, no matter orientation, full remote, hybrid, full hybrid, fully back in class, we're all, no matter what you're doing, you're still doing your classes. Can one switch options from remote to hybrid or vice versa? The window for hybrid for remote has shut, and I believe they're not accepting anyone else into the remote model. And that may be based more on middle school and elementary school than the high school, because we do have a little more flexibility. But I got that message today. They asked for a semester commitment, but here's an example maybe. I'm in the hybrid, been to school, I've got symptoms, I've got a fever, whatever it might be. Hey, you need to stay home for 14 days or whatever our protocols end up being for everyone. Well, if we're in the hybrid, it's I still have the same teachers, but I got to stay home. Well, you know what? You hop into Wednesdays and I'll work with you like the remote kids. We're learning the same things. So I can still continue to work with you. So it's an easy move. Will the switch from one to the other? We would work through that together with the guidance counselor, with the teacher, and just see what works best. I mean, we all have to be flexible in some way, right? No one asked for this. No one anticipated what we were doing. So we'll do the best to work with that situation. But to say you can switch at any time, no problem. I mean, we don't want that happening every week. But on an individual basis, we'd work with the family. Kids on hybrid model attend a day in school as per alphabetical order and then remote learning the next day. Correct. If you're A day, A through K, you go on A days. If you're L through Z, you go on B Ds. And then you're asynchronous remotely on the days you're not in school. Correct. Outdoor classrooms, no. We are not planning on outdoor classrooms. Weather, whatever it might be, we're not planning that. We're planning on safety measures in the classrooms. And they have been working on that. We've been working on shields and so forth specifically for choir. So we're putting precautions in place for that as well. Since science is now saying that certain masks do not prevent the spread of COVID, like the neck gaiters, how will you monitor this once the kids are in person? Beth, that's a great question. We have not had the conversations yet with our levels, my bosses, about what's acceptable, what's not acceptable as far as masks go. I'm sure that conversation is coming because we're hearing the differentiation between certain masks, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. So whatever is deemed to be acceptable and whatever kids have to wear and they're not doing it, we will work with that kid and that family to make sure that they are. We all want that to happen. So will students be empowered to help find the solution to the challenges that will come along? You have said that we are training students for careers. I believe students are always help in solving problems in their situations in classrooms. So if a child's having an issue or if we're dealing individually with a classroom, they're 100% a part of that solution because that's who we're focused on. If we're talking about creating events or activities or things for our students, as a part of Coffman, our student council, leaders, we work on that together. They work on that. So students are a big part of problem solving, and we intend to continue that. So it's great. Being engaged in identifying, solving the challenges may be the best lesson. Amen. Believe that 100%. What time do we log in for period 5? I'll send all that out. Patrick, I top of my head, and I don't have it sitting here, but I will have the schedules for everybody to know when you're expected to be logged in. So not to worry. Juniors missed the SAT. How will they make it up this year? Working on that conversation right now. Just had a meeting this afternoon, a virtual meeting there is no answer right now. And the College Board doesn't have an answer right now. Will the juniors take the PSAT in the fall semester? If so, what's the exam date? Not 100% sure yet. We're intending on trying to make that happen. But as you know, 500 juniors or 500 seniors testing at one time in this scenario with social distancing and so forth is not an easy task. So problem solving at its best. But we're working on that, and that will be announced at some point. Oh, darn. This thing. Okay. It jumps on me once in a while when I touch it. So here we go. Back to where I was. Okay. I'm going to spend about 10 more minutes or so trying to get through here, because at 8 o'clock, I'm meeting with the remote Learning Academy parents only. So I'm going to do my best here. There are not outdoor tent spaces right now. Doesn't mean there won't be, but there aren't any right now. Parking passes. Yes, we will have a process for parking passes. And we have had discussions about that as well. Lab work, come into school or complete those requirements. Right now, students will not be coming in extra time. So the structure is set up the way it is. So our science departments are working on what's the best way to set those up and provide the labs and everything they need in the structure we have set up. So I can't specifically answer that, but I can tell you, hey, my kids need to come in an extra day to do labs. That won't happen at this point. If there is a class with 2-period block for CCP, do they just work from home during both periods since they are online, yet they are in hybrid mode? For CCP courses online, I believe that I'm not 100% sure if they're going to be in the Emerald campus or they're going to be able to work from it home on those online courses. But I'll find the answer to that, because I have to find the answer to that, because my son will be doing block periods of CCP. So let me just jot that down. If we go into remote, will they be expected to be there? I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. I would say no, but I don't want to say no when I don't know the specific answer. I haven't had that conversation. Great question. You're welcome. It's a challenging time for all of us. Really appreciate it. The staff's awesome. Thank you so much for saying that. Awesome. Yep. How do we get parking passes? We don't have that down yet. We will work on that. Not 100% sure yet. Ceramics being conducted. Great question. And I know our ceramics teacher is working on that right now. So I can't specifically answer that, but she's going to have a plan in place. Will it be the same as if I was in school every day? No, obviously not, but we'll have something in place. Students will get their schedules on the 18th. Will the students and teacher wear masks during? Yes, absolutely. Students will be required to wear masks before entering the building, as will teachers. Common App, college essays. Yeah, Kelly, our guidance staff is working on that, and I'm sure they're going to, and it's going to have to be a virtual situation where they are creating virtual opportunities to go through that. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you, guys. I'm trying to run through here quick. Thank you. Oh, buses be running starting on the 24th. Oh, I see what you're saying. Cody, I would get with your guidance counselor and just make sure we're ready to go and you're ready to go and have all the transportation you need. They can help you with that and make sure it's clicks on day one for you. Yeah, because they start differently. Oh, darn. Yes. Has there been any more talk about identifying COVID numbers for school district versus Franklin County? No, I have not heard that at all. How does the Emerald Campus bus shuttle work? Same as it did last year. It'll go back and forth from here to Emerald Campus, be in between classes, just like last year. What will the lunch look like? The lunch, we're developing that plan now. We potentially are going to have student desks in the cafeteria spaced out and marked so that we are assured to be social distance as opposed to the big tables. Big task to get that done. Obviously limits the number of kids we can put in there. We're working on what that number is. We're trying to find other spaces for lunch. So yeah, we will put a safe plan in place. Welcome. What's the status of students who have not turned any paperwork yet? Will they be in hybrid? If you have not applied to Rita, if you have not applied to be in the online only, the remote learning academy, then yes, you will be hybrid and be at school on if we go to hybrid. Mrs. Damani, we do not have a schedule yet for student pictures. We plan to take student pictures, but we do not have a schedule yet for that. And working closely with the photographers, the company to organize that. How to prevent unintentional hallway crowding changes. Yeah, that orientation is going to be a perfect time for us with, we anticipate classrooms will have 5 to 8 kids in it, if that. And so we'll be able to see that and we will monitor that closely. We plan on educating students, marking hallways, splitting the hallways. There'll be one direction. As you're walking that way, you're all in the same direction and so forth. So we're doing a lot around stairwells as well. And some stairwells will be up only, some will be down only, going through the building and doing that right now. Awesome. You're welcome. We are not assigning lockers. Great question. No one's asked that yet. If a child needs a locker, then I will hit that in the student meetings. They can ask for one and we will provide them with a locker, but we do not plan. Not many of our kids use lockers. We've found out since about 3 or 4 years ago, they've stopped using lockers. So, but we will certainly provide that. If you arrive at the point where you feel that your student needs to switch to a hybrid after August 24th, contact your students. Oh, Mr. Farrell, thank you so much. One of my assistant principals. You are more than welcome. Any efforts to make teachers' Schoology pages look more similar to each other's pages? Better. Students definitely navigate them better than parents. So I'm not going to, I don't know if it's going to, what we are going to want is teachers to use Schoology. That's where we want to go. Everybody goes to Schoology to start. So I will say that. I won't know that we're going to try to make each page the same as opposed to make it work for each kid. I do have one answer though on the 0 period. There is no 0 period at Emerald Campus. I found that out as we were talking. So maybe I need to know more about the Schoology on the parent end. As you can tell, I haven't been in there on the parent end that often. I mean, I have some to check grades and so forth, but maybe I need some more info on that, and I can at least have that discussion. So I've got 6 minutes before my next meeting with the Remote Learning Academy. Again, I want to say thank you to all of you for showing up tonight and asking great questions. I wholeheartedly believe that our community here at Coffman is going to do an amazing job. And yes, we're going to have rough patches, but we can help each other, and we can support each other, and model for our kids what it's like to overcome. And that's our intent. And I could tell by your reactions that that's your intent as well. So this meeting is recorded. I will send out a video of this meeting in the next couple days. So anyone that didn't see it, I'll email it to the parents and for viewing pleasure. But I hope you all have a great evening. I hope in some ways our anxiety levels dropped a little bit through this meeting. I intend to have another one in potentially continue some of these meetings for a while, just to have conversation and help you as much as I can. So I appreciate all of you. I hope you have a great night, and I am looking forward to seeing how this all develops and watching kids do amazing things. So have a great night. Thank you all very much.